Our next story, we're going back into space.
That's right.
Like our first story. NASA's new radar just pulled off something impossible. So during a close Mars flyby, NASA's Europa Clipper spacecraft tested its radar system, Reason, for the first time in space.
Yeah.
And this is interesting because I said at the top how this might lead us to aliens. So how do we get from a radar at Mars to aliens?
Aliens. That's what it's always been about, man.
Always about aliens.
It's always about aliens. Not like intelligent life. I don't think there's like sea people in Europa. But Europa is an extremely important planetoid. It's not really a planet. It's a moon of Jupiter, but if it was going around the sun, it's quite big, honestly. It's quite big. It's bigger than our moon.
Okay.
And it's a planet that has ice on its surface.
Mm-hmm.
And we're pretty sure has an ocean underneath.
Right.
Okay. And we're also pretty sure that it's geologically active.
Okay.
So there's like volcanoes.
Okay.
And the reason why that makes us super excited is because those are sort of the conditions where we find a lot of life on Earth in deep sea hydrothermal vents.
Yep.
Right. Those things are some of my favorite places that, if I didn't have a debilitating fear of water, like I would go in a submarine and visit hydrothermal vents.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think I'm ever going to do that.
It's not
but like so hydrothermal vents are places on the Earth where there's like basically volcanic geothermal activity happening under the ocean floor. It's been happening probably for billions of years. It's probably where the first life originated around Earth. And it's also one of the only places where the fundamental source of energy does not come from the sun.
Oh, interesting.
Right? That's what's cool. Everywhere else on Earth, the fundamental source of energy comes from the sun. Right?
Right.
That becomes like photosynthesized and blah, blah, blah. But geothermal places, Yellowstone, I guess, is another. The bacteria in those thermal pools, they're getting their energy from the kinds of chemical compounds that are coming from the Earth. Hydrothermal vents are pretty nice because like there's so much diversity of life down there.
Mm-hmm.
There's bacteria, there's like sponges, there's like all sorts of crazy stuff.
And
so we're thinking Europa has that, and we want to get there.
And we want to get there.
And we want to look at it.
And this radar system, this Clipper spacecraft, ultimately is destined for Europa.
It's going to get there in 2030.
Okay.
So it's got a long ways.
Yeah.
It was launched last year.
Okay.
It already made its way to Mars. It's going to do this like gravity assist. So it's going to go around Mars. Then it's going to come back to Earth, I think, 2026.
Oh.
Do a gravity assist from us. And then shoot off
so
to
it's the double rainbow.
Yeah.
All the way.
It's doing a comeback, and then it's going to do it. Right? And it's got a lot of systems to try and see Europa for what it is.
Okay.
Usually when we've sent stuff to Jupiter, like Europa hasn't really been the focus, right? There's so many cool things to see around Jupiter and Saturn and things like that. So this one is specifically designed for Europa.
Very interesting.
It's got two things that are really cool. One is it's got a really nice thermal camera. Mm-hmm. So with the thermal camera, what you can do is you can look at the ice and see if there's parts that are warm, parts that are cold.
Which would
maybe
be
the warm parts are where the water is coming out, or like where the geothermal activity is.
Yep.
Extremely accurate thermal imaging. Then there's also a radar system. This is the radar is called Reason. It means it's a short form for Radar for Europa Assessment and Sounding, Ocean to Near Surface.
Right, because the idea is it's going to be doing its detection at that ice layer and just slightly below that ice layer.
Yeah.
And we will be able to then have a better picture of what is actually there.
I mean, how deep is the ice? First question.
Because
how like, maybe we want to go there and
drill. And it's like,
but then it's like, okay, how deep do we got to go?
Is this going to be Armageddon where we have to send, drill 2 miles into the incoming asteroid?
Yeah, it might be 2 miles. I think, they estimate that it's something like 20 kilometers.
Oh, wow.
Ice.
Oh, okay.
So, but we got robots.
Yeah.
We can do it.
Drilling.
We can do it. Yeah. So the radar, there's two different types of radar. There's the high frequency radar, which is at 9 megahertz, and that's going to give us like up to 30 kilometers in depth.
Oh,
so
great.
We'll be able to see like, okay, what's the depth of the ice? How far away is the ocean?
So if it's if the ice is only 20 kilometers, then we would be able to basically detect that.
Like the ocean.
That's the 10 below that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we also have very high frequency, which is at 60 megahertz. And that gets us to about 4 kilometers.
Okay.
But we have a lot higher resolution
Right.
on like
Right.
spatial features and things like that. So there we can see like what are the fissures in the ice like?
Yep.
Right? Like how do those move around? What
Yep.
is the geologic history of that ice crust?
Right.
You know, because if you look at Europa, there's like these long gashes and like fissures. Clearly there's like movement in the ice, right?
Got it. Yep.
That's coming from, well, one, it's so close to Jupiter that Jupiter's gravity literally like stretches and squishes it.
Yep.
Okay, and that's what's causing the geothermal motion,
Mm-hmm.
right? The moon is geologically dead. Mars is geologically dead. But Europa and Io, which is the even closer moon, they're geologically active because Jupiter is so massive that it literally like squishes and like, you know, the moon is tugging on the Earth, and
Yes.
because the Earth has a fluid, there's tides.
Yes.
This tidal friction, but it's
in the
so
ice.
powerful that literal planet
Earth.
is doing tides, right? And it's like squishing and like, so there's a lot of geothermal activity there. There's probably a lot more in Europa.
That makes sense.
So that's what we're trying to find, and it's gonna be really interesting. The cool part to me was, you know, you could ask like, why can't you just? So here it was right on Mars, and they're testing the radar and the thermal imaging there.
They're doing basically a dry run.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's already on its way, but they're like, while we're on the way, let's just make sure
let's just make sure everything is right.
'cause
And
then if-
Mars is like the best studied thing outside the Earth and the Moon
Fair.
in the solar system, right? So it's like when we take a picture with the radar on Mars, we know exactly what to expect because
it.
we've taken 1,000 photos already.
So we have something to match it to.
Yeah,
be like,
and then
oh,
it's like there better not be any new surprises, right?
Got it.
Because if they are, it's not Mars, it's your instrument.
that makes sense.
Right? So everyone's like, fingers crossed, everything worked. Everything worked. One thing that was interesting was like, why didn't you just like test this here? Right? NASA's JPL made it.
Yep.
The radar was actually made by UT Austin.
Mm-hmm.
The thermal imaging was made by Arizona, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
All the universities.
Yep.
And so it's like, why didn't you just test it? Well, the antenna for this radar is like as big as this football field.
Oh, wow.
Right? That's
yeah.
like, so in order to test it, like, okay, fine, you can, like, in order to fully test it in the thing, this thing is assembled in a clean room. It's in the biggest clean room in JPL. And that thing can like sort of barely fit this Clipper probe because the solar panels are so massive because, like, you know, Jupiter is 5 times away from the sun as Earth.
Right.
So like you have 1/25th
Of
the amount of light. So
work
you need a giant football field sized solar panel to like power the radar
Right.
and the thermal imaging, and
Right.
this thing comes at a cost of energy.
Yep.
And so you're fitting it in this like in this giant high bay clean room at JPL. You want everything to be sterile. Now like in order to test radar, you need to bounce it off something far away.
Right.
Right. So they tested each individual component, but they didn't test the whole thing.
Right.
This is the first time that they're testing the real big thing, and it like worked. Everything was great.
Talk about tight sphincters. I went to, I think I told you about this recently. I went to, up in Santa Barbara, Redwire Space was doing a deployment test for their solar arrays for the Artemis program.
Oh yeah.
And I went into, it was a much smaller clean room, but it was still quite large.
Yeah.
And just to see the amount of time and the scale of this thing, I mean, the scale of this thing is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So we saw it, deploy itself out. And the reason for that is they want to have it in a smaller, tighter package
To
to get it off the Earth.
Yeah.
But then still be able to have the surface area, like you're saying, to
Yeah.
be able to be valuable. And even something like that, there was a whole process, they had to scrub down, etc.
Yeah.
So the scale of this stuff is incredible, and I can only imagine. I saw how nervous they were just doing that test
Here.
on the ground, and they had already had a successful one for the first solar array, and they were just doing the second one. So there was already a level of confidence they'd be fine, let alone be like, okay, let's hope when it's going by Mars that nothing there's no like broken pixel somewhere.
Yeah. And it's like they got about 60 gigs of data from 40 minutes of radar
Okay.
on Mars, and the pictures look fantastic.
Fantastic.
So I think it's going to be a really great thing to see in 2030 when we get those Europa flybys, because it's going past Europa 50 times.
Yep.
It's going to get as low as 16 kilometers from the
quite close.
surface, which is pretty close.
That's quite
dude.
close.
That's like real close.
So if there is signs,
If there's signs of life, that's gonna be great.
We're gonna-
Not even. I mean, signs of life would be crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like if we. I mean, it does have some equipment to find like trace gases and things like that if it came out. But like even signs of like a liquid ocean.
No, no, exactly. Because here's the thing. We're trying to understand how many things are unique to our planet.
Yeah.
Versus abundant in the universe. And as more and more of these fundamental properties become confirmed as being up, because if there's water on Europa, it's fair to extrapolate that water is relatively abundant, more generally in the larger universe, just statistically
And there's
speaking.
A lot of water on Europa, apparently, right? It might be all frozen, but I don't think so. A lot of people don't think so.
And if it's liquid, specifically if it's liquid water, it just opens the door more and more. Again, there are levels of what we mean by life and biosignatures, and not all life off planet necessarily is intelligent life, but even the presence of microbial life
in our own solar system. Right, this is in our backyard.
Would have.
I mean, I think that would be just magical.
But at a minimum, I think what's great about this is, good thing we got this thing off last year. Before funding got cut.
God.
Because NASA's really struggling right now. I mean, we're working with trying to get some programs set up, and it's just a total bloodbath.
No, dude, NASA's definitely struggling.
So we got it out there.
And now it's on a trajectory, right?
So we can't stop it.
We can't really stop it.
In the vacuum of
I mean,
space.
even the last story that we had with Yale.
Yeah.
That one's funded by NIH and NSF.
And obviously.
And actually DARPA.
I don't like that part.
Yeah, it's like I don't know why DARPA's doing
feels like a Call of Duty
new
game.
Lego.
If anyone remembers the Call of Duty where I think it featured Kevin Spacey as the villain, they basically did this thing where they created a genetic, basically the weapon only impacted people that had this certain. It was DARPA's connection to the synthetic protein thing gives me that.
It's a little icky.
Yeah, it gives me that Call of Duty vibe.
Yeah.
Not fun. Not fun.